I didn't leave my room until my mom got home around 9. I told her what happened, and she was furious with me for not calling 911. In hindsight, that was a very stupid mistake, one of many I made or didn't make as a young kid. This was the night I almost died, home alone, and it was the most intense experience of my life. We were a family of 5. I was 10, my older brother was 14, and my little sister was 5. It was a Friday night, and my brother was out with his friends causing trouble. I remember being in my room playing a Star Wars video game when I heard my mom start freaking out and crying. I got really scared and hurried to see what was wrong. She was on the phone with a hospital informing my parents that my brother had been hit by a car. We were all shaken and terrified. My brother's leg was broken, but he recovered just fine. His injury isn't relevant to this story except that it's the reason I was left home alone on a Friday night. Before my dad left, he tried to calm my mom down, telling her he would be okay. Seeing my dad like that made me feel better. I had a feeling my mom was just being overdramatic, like any mom would be. I continued playing the Star Wars game for a couple more hours until I heard the front door open. By this point, it was well past midnight and past my bedtime, so I turned off the TV and PlayStation and crawled into my bed with my Game Boy. I tried listening for my parents' voices, hoping to hear my brother or just what they were saying, but I heard nothing. After a few minutes of silence, I had a feeling something was wrong. I went to my door, quietly opened it, and walked over to the ledge overlooking the living room. The lights were off, but there were 3 tall people standing there. They weren't my family. I was so petrified that I froze for a second before quietly walking back into my room and shutting the door. It wasn't quiet enough, though. They had to have heard the door click shut, even slightly. I hurried to my closet door, opened it quietly, stepped inside, and shut the door. I sat behind the boxes and bags of clothes pretty well covered from view. For what felt like forever, I anticipated my bedroom door opening. When it did, I knew I was going to die. I heard footsteps walk into the room. I couldn't tell how many people there were, but I heard them move to my bed and play with my covers. Then there was silence, followed by more footsteps towards the closet door. After a few seconds of silence, the closet door opened. My heart was pounding in my chest. All I did was sit quietly and hold my breath. The door was open for a really long time, but I didn't look up or move. It must have been at least 20 seconds of silence before the door closed again. Footsteps walked away from the door and out of the room. I finally looked up and realized that from where I was crouched down, I might have been visible to the person who opened the closet. It wasn't until about an hour later that I heard my parents return. The front door was left ajar by the intruders, and they had stolen a number of valuables from our house. It was a night that went from bad to worse for our family. My parents were in such a hurry when they left for the hospital that they apparently didn't even lock the door. I was lucky to have not been killed or kidnapped. Looking back now, I wonder if the person who opened the closet and just stood there for 20 seconds saw me hiding in there. Maybe he was just a guy who came to rob a house, not to kidnap or hurt a child. Or maybe he just didn't see me, and I narrowly escaped death or injury.